This is the Morning Times of April 4th, 2022. Ukraine accuses Russia of massacre cities strewn with bodies. By Alexander Shashensky. Bucha, Ukraine. Bodies with bound hands, close-range gunshot wounds, and signs of torture lay scattered in a city on the outskirts of Kiev after Russian soldiers withdrew from the area. Ukrainian authorities on Sunday accused the departing forces of committing war crimes and leaving behind a scene from a horror movie. As images of the bodies of people whom residents said were killed indiscriminately began to emerge from Bucha, slew of European leaders condemned the atrocities and called for tougher sanctions against Moscow. The bodies of 410 civilians have been removed from Kiev area towns that were recently retaken from Russian forces, Ukraine's Prosecutor General Irina Venediktova said. Associated Press journalists saw the bodies of at least 21 people in various spots around Bucha, northwest of the capital. One group of 9, all in civilian clothes, were scattered around the site of residents said Russian troops used as a base. They appeared to have been killed at close range. At least 2 had their hands tied behind their backs, and one of those was shot in the head. Others' legs were bound. Ukrainian officials said the blame for the killings, which they said happened in Bucha, the Kiev suburb, squarely at the feet of Russian troops, with the president calling them evidence of genocide. But Russia's defense ministry rejected accusations of provocation. Discoveries followed the Russian retreat from the area around the capital territory that has seen heavy fighting since troops invaded Ukraine from 3 directions on February 24th. Troops who swept in from Belarus to the north spent weeks trying to clear a path in Kiev, but their advance stalled in the face of resolute defense from Ukraine's forces. Moscow now says it's focusing its offensive in the country's east, but also pressed a siege on a city in the north and continued to strike cities elsewhere in a war that has already forced more than 4 million Ukrainians to flee their country and many more to leave their homes. Russian troops rolled into Bucha in the early days of the invasion, stayed up to March 30th. With those forces gone, residents gave harrowing accounts Sunday, saying soldiers shot and killed civilians without any apparent reason. One resident who refused to give his name, fearing for his safety, said Russian troops went building to building and took people out of the basements where they were hiding, checking their phones for any evidence of anti-Russian activity, taking them away or shooting them. Hanna Harega, a resident of Bucha, said Russian troops shot a neighbor who had gone out to gather wood for heating. He went to get some wood when all of a sudden the Russians started shooting him a bit above the heel, crushing the bone, and he fell down. Harega said then they shot off his left leg completely with the boot. Then they shot him all over the chest. Another shot went slightly below the temple. It was a controlled shot to the head. The AP also saw 2 bodies of a man and a woman wrapped in plastic that residents said they had covered, placed in the shaft until a proper funeral could be arranged. The resident who refused to be identified said the man was killed as he left the home. He put his hands up. They shot him, he said. Oleksiy Arestovich, an advisor to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, said scores of residents were found slain on the streets of the suburbs of Irpin and Hostomel. as well as Bucha in what looked like a scene from a horror movie. He alleged that some of the women found dead had been raped before being killed. The Russians then burned the bodies. This is genocide, Zelensky told the CBS Face Nation on Sunday. But Russia's defense ministry said the statement, the photos and videos of dead bodies had been staged and managed by Kiev regime for Western media. They noted that Bucha's mayor did not mention any abuse the day after a Russian troop left. Military charge said not a single civilian has faced any violent action by the Russian military in Bucha. Over the weekend, AP journalists